Hello everyone, welcome to question session 1 of strength of materials. So in this we will solve our questions on chapter 1, that is properties of materials, and chapter 2, that is stress and strain, with also our elastic constants. Okay, now let's see the first question. So it is mentioned that a stress and strain diagram with two materials A and B are shown in the figure. The following statements are made based on the diagram. The material A is more brittle than material B. Sure, material A is more brittle because like it is elastic limit, and it breaks just after your elastic limit. Okay, and material B is your ductile, so material A is more brittle than material B. Correct. Ultimate strength of material B is more than that of A. Incorrect, because this is our ultimate strength of material B, and this is ultimate strength of material A. Okay, so only statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. Okay, now second question, the stress level below which material have high probability of not failing under reversal of stress is known as. Okay, so this we will we see that it below endurance limit. So this is actually we studied in your first chapter of machine design, so I will discuss it there. Okay, next question is, which of the following is not a property of material? So modulus of resilience, Young modulus, proof resilience, strength of material. Now if we talk about property, so this modulus of resilience is property, Young modulus is a property, proof resilience is a property. This strength of material is not a property but is a name of subject. Okay, now in question number 4, it is mentioned the maximum strain energy stored in the body without exceeding the limit of proportionality is our proof resilience. Okay, proof resilience. Okay, next, the ductile structure is defined as one of which the plastic deformation before fracture. Actually, the plastic deformation is much larger than that of elastic deformation. Okay, now moving to the next question, it is mentioned that like matchlit question. So let's see, ductile, brittle, tenacity and toughness, failure without warning. This is our brittleness. Okay, drawn permanently over great changes of shape without rupture, drawn permanently over great changes of shape without rupture, absorption of energy at high stress without rupture, high tensile strength. Okay, so drawn permanently, so this should be our tenacity, or if this should, no, sorry, so drawn permanently, like this is our ductility, option 2. Absorption of energy at our high stress without rupture, so this is our toughness. This is toughness is capacity or to absorb the energy. Okay, now similarly high tensile strength is our tenacity, so option D is correct. Now next question, it is mentioned that a mild steel specimen is tested up to fracture point in a UTM. Which of the following mechanical properties of material can be evaluated from such a test? So from the modulus of elasticity is the slope, so we can calculate yield strength, we can calculate tensile strength, we can calculate. Okay, now what else? If we see 1, 2, 3, and modulus of rigidity we cannot calculate by this. Okay, neither hardness, modulus of resilience we can say for once we can calculate. So 1, 2, 3 and 6, 1, 2, 3 and 6, so option D is correct. Okay, now moving to the next question, it is mentioned that which is the following correct with respect to Poisson ratio for isotropic elastic solid. So ideally what we say that our value of mu is between -1 to 1/2. Okay, for isotropic elastics. Next, if in a test the value of Young modulus is found to be correct, Young modulus is, so let's solve question number 9. It is mentioned that E value is correct. Okay, then but there is error in of 1.5% in calculation of modulus of rigidity. So delta G, or let me write it like this. So delta E upon E is equal to 0. Delta G upon G is 1.5%, so 0.015. Okay. Next, what will be the error of in the calculation of Poisson ratio? If the correct way, so mu is given as mu is equal to 0.3 given. Okay. Now it is asked what should be our delta mu upon mu. Okay. So let's see. So we know that E is equal to 2g into 1 plus mu. Okay, so let's differentiate on both sides. So here we get delta E, delta is equal to 2g, and if we differentiate the inside term, so we will get delta mu. Okay, plus 2 into delta G into 1 plus mu. Okay, so from here I can write like if we divide both, so I can obtain delta E by E is equal to delta mu plus 1 plus mu. Okay, plus delta G by G. Okay, now from here it is given that this value is 0, this value is given to be, so we know that delta mu upon 1 plus mu is equal to 0.015. Okay, so from here I can find delta mu is equal to, so 1 plus mu is 1.3, so 0.015 into 1.3. So let's do it, 1.3 into 0.015. Okay, so our delta mu comes out to be 0.0195. Okay, so from here I can calculate delta mu by mu is equal to divided by 0.3 is mu, so this should be our 6.5%. 6.5%. Option B is correct. Okay, now we will move into our next question. Oh, I hope you understood how we solve this question number 9. Okay. Now in question number 15, it is mentioned that the stress strain curve for a mild steel is shown in the figure. Choose the correct option referring to both. Okay, so let's see what are the correct options. So point P is our proportional limit 3. Point P is proportional limit. Let me write it in another color. Point Q is our elastic limit, that is 4. Point R is our upper yield limit 1. Point S is our lower yield limit 5. Point T is our ultimate strength 2, and point U is our failure, that is 6. 3, 4, 1, 5 to 6. 3, 4, 1, 5 to 6. Option C is correct. Okay. Now similarly, let's move to question number 17. It is mentioned that U1 and U2 are strain energy stored in the prismatic bar due to axial tensile load P1 and P2 respectively. The tensile strength U is stored in the same bar due to combined action of P1 and P2. Okay, so if we write U, so we can write U1 is equal to P square L or P1 square L by 2AE. If I write U2, I can write U2 is equal to P2 square L by 2AE. Okay, now if I write U, so U will be P1 plus P2 square L by 2AE. Okay, so you get this, huh? This is mentioned that the strain energy U is stored in the same bar due to combined action of P1 and P2. Since P1 and P2 are combined, so it will be P1 plus P2 square. Okay, now from this we can say that this U value, so if we expand this, so we will get an additional term of 2 P1 P2. Okay, now so this U value is greater than our U1 plus E2. Okay, option D is correct. Okay, due to this only our strain energy is not superposition principle is not applicable in case of your strain energy. Okay, now question number 18. It is mentioned that a mild steel tension specimen has a cup and cone fracture. Okay, mild steel tension has a cup and cone fracture at failure, correct? We have like studied that in case of mild steel, in the tension test it is cup and cone. The mild steel is weak in shear, and failure of specimen in shear takes place at 45 degree to the direction of applied tensile force. This is also correct, and this is the correct explanation. Okay, so option A is correct. Now let's move to question number 19. It is mentioned that a hypothetical engineering stress strain curve shown in the figure having point PQ, okay, lines PQ, QR and RS. Okay, so we have been given the coordinates of all the points. Q is the yield point. Okay, so this is our yield point. This is our yield point. This is yield point. Okay, now Q is the yield point. R is the UTS. This is ultimate tensile strength, and this S is fracture. Okay, now it is asked the toughness of the material. Okay, so we know that toughness is equal to per unit volume is equal to your area of strain stress strain curve. So we can like find the total area under the curve. Okay, so here this line should be straight line because it is mentioned here 0.8, and this is also 0.8, so this should be straight line. And here it is mentioned 0.2, this is also 0.2, so this is also a like perpendicular line. Okay, so we can like find the area under all the like curves. So area we can find, let's say this is region 1, region 2, region 3. Okay, so this will be A1 plus A2 plus A3. Okay, now A1 is a rectangle, it can be written as half into base. Base is our 0.2, base is our 0.2 into height is our 100. Okay, plus A2 is will act as our trapezium. So trapezium, the area of trapezium is half into sum of parallel side into height. This is our half into sum of parallel sides. Parallel side is this line, this line, and both these lines are parallel side. So one line is 100, the second line is 140. Okay, and into height is our like this distance 0.6 minus 0.2, that is 0.4. Okay, plus half into area of third will be represented by this, and sum of parallel side is 140 plus 130. Okay, into like height is 0.8 minus 0.6, that is 0.2. Okay, so if we solve this, so we will obtain value as 140 plus 130. Okay, into 0.1 plus our 240 into 0.2 plus 10, 85. So we have obtained the value as is equal to 85. Now since this was in megapascal, so the unit will be megajoule per meter cube. Okay, this will be our toughness. Okay, sorry, but one thing, this is mentioned percentage. Okay, so like when we have written the value of strain, so we have to divide strain value by 100 also. Okay, 100, so answer will be 0.85 megajoule per meter cube. Okay, now we will start our questions on stress strain. Okay, now in this question it is mentioned that the stepped bar made of same material is rigidly held between two rigid supports as shown in the figure. When the temperature of the bar is increased by 50 degrees Celsius, that means that delta T is equal to 50 degrees Celsius. The stress in the bar AB, BC, R dash assume. Okay, so we have to find this stress in bar 1, bar, let's say it 1, this bar 2, and this bar 3. Okay, so we have to calculate the stress in bar 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now as we have like studied in our last lecture, so I can say that delta 1 delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3 is equal to 0. This is for sure. Okay, now let's say, so from here we can write that if temperature is increased, then the length of our system should increase, but there will be on both sides there will be a reaction force. Let's say R with the reaction force. Okay, now this like load for both all the system like 1, 2 and 3 should be R. Okay, so I can say that because of like your thermal expansion, there should be expansion in all the bars. So how can I write expansion in bar 1? So I can write it by L, that is our L1 alpha delta T. Okay, or let's show it as T only. Okay, L alpha T minus L1 alpha T minus what we should subtract, like the compression due to your action of R load. Okay, so R PL by IE, it is R L1 by A1 E. Okay, plus then L2 alpha T minus similarly R L2 by A2 E. Okay, similarly plus L3 alpha T minus R L3 A3 E equal to 0. Okay, so now let's move all the L terms on this side and other on that time. So L1 plus L2 plus L3, L1 plus L2 plus L3 into alpha T. Alpha value is our 12 into 10 to the power minus 6. Change in temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, that is 50, is equal to let's say write R by E is constant, R by E value is given as 200 gigapascal. Okay, so if we see here, okay, so our R value would become our, okay, so let's convert it into our megapascal. Okay, megapascal. So why do we convert all the units? Like if you solve the questions, so you should like convert all the pressure, like all the units considering Pascal in our megapascal. Why? Because megapascal you can write megapascal as Newton per mm square. So all of your units will be in mm only. Okay, so this is our benefit for converting your all the like pressure units or your stress units or your elastic constant into megapascal. Okay, this into L2 by A2, or sorry L1 by A1. L1 is value is 20, or that is in 20 meters. Okay, now here also this was in meter. Okay, L, so here also we will like obtain the L value, so let's write it in meter only. Okay, so 20 divided by E, this is A1. A1 is like diameter given the pi by 4 d square. So pi by 4, let's say take common in from all the further like all the terms. So pi by 4 into d square, d is 20 ka square. Okay, plus L2 is 20 divided by diameter 10 ka square plus 20 upon 20 ka square. Okay, now if you solve this, so let's substitute the values here. Okay, so if we solve this, so this will be 20 inverse. Okay, plus 20 divided by 100 plus 20 inverse. Okay, so we have obtained 0.3 into 4 divided by pi divided by 200,000. Okay, now we have like we will move like just because this term and multiply it here. Okay, so this is 60 into 12 into 50. Okay, now we will divide it by 10 to the power 6, 10 to the power 6. So we have obtained this value. So we have obtained R is equal to 18.85 kilonewton. Okay, now if I want to obtain like a value of stress, so I can write sigma 1 is equal to R upon A1. Okay, and sigma 2 is equal to R upon A2. Now we can obtain both values as, so this are 1885 divided by, sorry, okay, divided by area. Area is our pi. So 4 divided by our d square. D is our 20 square. Okay, so this is our, this will be our 60 megapascal. Okay, 60 megapascal. Okay, now if we calculate for your sigma 2, so sigma 2 is the diameter is 100, so this will be our 4 times. Okay, so 240 megapascal. Now we can say that all these loads acting on it are compressive in nature. Okay, so both of these stresses are compressive, so 60 and 240 compressive. Okay, or we can also do, like, since R is compressive, we can like substitute minus R here directly. Okay, minus R, so our like answer sigma 1 sigma 2 will come out to be negative, because the R value here will be negative. Okay, so moving to next question. Next question, it is mentioned that a railway is late so that there is no stress in the rail at 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, it means that at 8 degrees Celsius there is no stress. The rail is 30 meter long. Assume L is equal, alpha is equal to this and E is equal to this. The stress in the rail at 50 degrees Celsius, if there is an expansion allowance of 5 mm per rail. Okay, so let's say that here we can say that delta, that increase in temperature is 50 minus 8, that is 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, now we have been provided value of alpha and E. Okay, now it is mentioned that 5 mm is our allowance that is allowed. Okay, so if I say what is the actual expansion, how much expansion will happen, so if it was free, so L alpha delta T, and or L alpha T was a free expansion that was possible when your rail is allowed to expand freely. Okay, now let's say that R amount of reaction is acting on the rail, so RL by AE will be our reaction, I mean that the contraction due to reaction force, and this difference will be like maximum to 5 mm, which is mentioned here. Okay, so 5 mm length is allowed for your expansion. Okay, now let's convert it into meter. Okay, so 5 into 10 minus 3. Okay, now if we substitute all the values here, so let's substitute the value of L. So L value is given by L value, or I can like here I can directly write this sigma. Okay, R by A sigma. So L value is given 30 meter, so 30 into our alpha value is 12 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 200. Now here we have used the value of like this in meter, all the terms in meter, so we have to like convert it into Newton per meter square only. Okay, so 10 to the power 9. Okay, minus, sorry, my mistake, this is not E, here it should be temperature, so temperature value is 42. I have calculated, increase in temperature is 42, minus stress we have to calculate, length is provided given as 30, and since we have to like, let's say calculate stress in megapascal, so we have to substitute value in of E in megapascal, so 200 into 10 to the power 3 is equal to 5 into 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, now let's solve it. So first let's solve this part. So 30 into 12 into 42 divided by 10 to the power 6. Okay, so this is value, minus 5 divided by 10 to the power 3. Okay, now we have obtained this value. We have multiplied this by 200,000. Okay, and divided by 30, so we have obtained stress is equal to, stress in the rail is equal to 67.47 megapascal. So this B is our option. Okay, now next we mention the minimum expansion allowance, like this was third part. If we talk about fourth part, is mentioned that the minimum allowance if stress in the rail to be 0 when temperature is raised is 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, so our what should like our stresses should be 0 at this condition. Okay, so let's say using this equation only I will write. So So our like expansion should be allowed up to free point, up to free length only. Okay, so I can say that the additional gap required for zero stress should be such that it can expand freely. L alpha t only. L is 30, alpha is 12 into 10 to the power minus 6, and t is 42. This should be your 30 into 12 into 42. This should be your 0.01512 meter, and we can write it as 15.12 mm. So option C is correct. Okay, so in question number 6 it is mentioned that for a bar as shown in the figure, the cross section area of steel, aluminum and bronze are given. Okay, so respectively the maximum P that will not exceed the stress of steel to be 140 megapascal, 90 megapascal for in aluminum and 100 megapascal in bronze. Okay, so let's first calculate what should be the value of P which will cause our least let's say that least value of P what should be such that these allowable stresses will be obtained. Okay, so let's consider one by one. Let's consider bronze. Okay, so if we consider bronze bar, so this is our bar, bronze bar. Okay, or let's explode the diagram first. Okay, so this was our steel, then this is our aluminum, and here it is bronze. Okay, so it is given that bronze is 2p compression. Okay, so in such questions if we have been provided with the multiple loads like here 2p, here p. Okay, in such questions we have to let me tell you what approach you should choose here. Okay, so if 2p compression is acting on the bronze bar, let's say it 1 2 3 1 2 3 on bar 3, then it's this side also there should be 2p force. Okay, now but here only p amount of load is given in this direction. Okay, so if we if I want to obtain maximum of p, so I should apply p in this direction also. Okay, so now if I add both of these forces, so I will obtain net force of p in right direction, that is given here. Okay, so I hope this is the way you should choose to for your multiple bar and multiple which are acting under multiple loads at different point. Okay, now since this point p is acting compression, so here also there should be point load p in compression. Now here 4p is given in this direction. Okay, it means that in this direction 3p load more is required to make it equal to 4p. Okay, now this side should also be acting as 3p load. Okay, next we have calculated what is the load acting on your bar 1 2 and 3. Okay, now we have been given the value of your area cross section areas we have been given with. So if I want to let's say stress, so stress is written as load that is F upon area. Okay, so let me write it here. So I can write sigma 1 is equal to load is 3p upon area is A1, that is 500 given. Okay, now from here I can find P is equal to so sigma 1 value is given as maximum value of steel is given as 140. Okay, so 140 megapascal into 500 mm square divided by 3p, it was so to divide by 3, and this term will come out to be 140 divided by 3 into 500 into 500. So this comes out to be 23.33 kilo Newton. Okay, now if I want to calculate sigma 2, so sigma 2 similarly this will be load is p divided by area is given as 400. Okay, so from here I can calculate p is equal to, so sigma 2 is given as 90 megapascal for aluminum, so 90 into sorry, 90 into area is our 400. So this is in our Newton. Okay, so this is 36 kilonewton. Okay, now similarly sigma 3 is equal to our load in okay, so one more thing, that this there it is compression. So this okay, but load like value of P will remain same. Okay, now in if case of your sigma 3, it will be our 2P divided by area of cross section given at 200. So from here I can find P is equal to sigma 3 is given as our 100 into 200 divided by 2 is equal to 10 kilonewton. This will be 10 kilonewton. Okay, now we have obtained our value of stress in bar 1, bar 2, and sorry, value of load corresponding to like bar 1 and bar 2 and bar 3 in from all these conditions. We have obtained the value of P. Okay, now let's see that what is the minimum value of P that should be present, such that okay, so thus P applied should be your minimum, such that all the materials are safe. Okay, okay, so the minimum is like in your sigma 3. Here the value of P is minimum. Okay, so option D is correct here. Now, so similarly there is also this question available. So it is mentioned, determine the maximum axial stress in the bar. Okay, axial stress in the bar. So if we want to solve this, so like there are 3 bars, bar 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so let's explode those bars on first. Okay, this is bar A, this is our bar B, and this is our bar C. Okay, now we can say that since let's assume the reaction force. So let's say that the reaction force will act in this direction. Okay, so on both end reaction force will be same, because here it is in this direction also it is P, in this direction also it is P. Okay, so this should be R and this should be R, equal and opposite. There is total balancing. Okay, now if we like select this, so let's say that this R is acting in this direction. Okay, and here the R is acting in this, R will acting in this direction. Okay, but at this point a net force of P is in our right direction. Okay, so if we see here, so like if I want to obtain the net force of P in that direction, so I have to, let's say like I can apply a force in this direction, that is force magnitude is P minus R. Okay, P minus R. Okay, so similarly here also a load will act, that is P minus R. Okay, now at this point C, the net force of P is acting in this direction, so I can say that R load is acting in this direction, and so here also it should be R, sorry, it should be in this direction. Okay, R, such that our net force in this direction is P. Now here also it should be R. So from here, like if even if I like consider RA and RB, RD, so like if I consider this RA, so here it should be RA, here it should be RA, and if I like this should be RA, and here RD, only RD load is acting. So from here we can say that R is equal to RD. Okay, so in these both 3 bars, 1, 2, 3, we have to calculate our stress. What should the stress value in all 3 bars, and based on that stress value we can write we can tell that which value is maximum. Okay, so first to obtain our load, we have to like first calculate the value of what should be the value of R. So for that we can say that since it is fixed at both end, we can like use the compatibility equation of how net deflection is 0, net elongation is 0. So I can say delta is equal to 0. So if I like write it, we can write it as, let's write delta. So delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3, and delta will be positive because there is extension PL, R into L, both all having length A, length L only, upon AE. Here it should be AE. Okay, now in second, since it is compression, let's, so it is minus sign, load is P minus R. Okay, L upon AE. Now here A is 2A and E is E by 2. okay. Plus, because there is tensile force, R L by AE, okay, is equal to 0. So from here I can write R times of AE, here 1, okay. So this term is RL by AE. If I solve this, so here also we obtain plus 1, and here also plus 1 RL by AE, and this should be equal to PL by AE, okay. So from here I can write R is equal to P by 3, okay. So since we have obtained R is equal to P by 3, I can say that sigma 1 is equal to R by A, so P by 3A, and this is tensile. Sigma 2 is equal to P minus R is 2P by 3, so 2P by 3 into area is 2A, so we will again get P by 3A, and this is our compressive. Similarly, we can calculate sigma 3 is equal to R is our P by 3, so P by 3A tensile, okay. So stress in all the bars remain same in for this condition, okay. So it is mentioned that P by 3A tensile, this is our maximum force, okay. All the rest of the options are incorrect. So we have done question number 7. Now moving to next question. It is mentioned that solid uniform metal bar of diameter D and length L is hanging vertically from its upper, okay. So this is our bar and is fixed from here, diameter D, length L. The elongation of bar due to self weight, okay. So we know that elongation delta during like self weight is equal to WL by 2AE, okay, and W is equal to gamma AL. So I can write here gamma L square by 2E, okay. Now it is mentioned here that elongation of bar due to self weight is proportional to L and inversely proportional to D square. No, incorrect, okay. So here we can say that this delta is only proportional to L square. It is like independent of your area, cross section area, okay. So is proportional to L square but independent of diameter. Option D is correct, okay. Now moving to question number 9. It is mentioned, so this is our question number 8. Question number 9. The rectangular block of size this is subjected to shear stress of 500 kgf per centimeter square. If G is equal to this, the strain energy stored will be, okay. So I have like mentioned you earlier that strain for in under your shear force is given by S square Sx square dx by 2 Ag at x, okay, from 0 to L, okay. So here we can say that a rectangular block of size this, so this should be our area and this should be our length, okay. Now if we like substitute the value of S, so shear force is acting as, so S value is constant of 500 kgf per centimeter square, so 500 square into L is our 50 mm, so let's convert it into centimeter, okay. So 5 centimeter divided by 2A, area is 20, converted into centimeter square, to 20 into 10, okay, into G is given as 10 to the power 6, okay. So this will become out to be if you solve this, 500 square into 5 divided by 400, okay, and we will divide this by 10 to the power 6, okay. So we have obtained this value, okay. So there is, like it is mentioned here, shear stress is mentioned in 500 kg per centimeter square, okay. So this is shear stress and you have to use shear force here, okay. So like I have to consider tau into area is 20 into 10, this is on our centimeter, so this will be our kgf square, okay, into length is 5 centimeter, sorry. So we can solve this using 500 square into 200 into 5 divided by 2 divided by 10 to the power 6. So it comes out to be 125. So we have obtained U is equal to 125 kgf centimeter. Okay, so option C is correct. Now this question, it is mentioned that what will the strain energy in the prismatic bar suspended from one end if it is if in addition to its own weight it support load P. So like we have also the weight density of gamma for the bar. Okay, so let's like consider an action like section at distance x. Okay, so if we consider, let's consider having length of dx. Okay, so if I consider this element, so this element will be under load of P plus gamma a x. Okay, now due to this there will be some stress developed in the bar. Okay, so what I have to do, like first under this load I have calculated what should be the deflection of this small element. So d delta is equal to, we know that deflection is written by PL by AE load. So load is P, or sorry, here it is mentioned what is strain energy is mentioned. Okay, so strain energy is given by F is or you can say that Px square dx by 2AE. Okay, and integration from 0 to L. Okay, so we will write 0 to L. Now this Px is our P plus gamma a x square, okay, into dx divided by 2AE. Now this A and E values are constant, so I can take it common. So this will be our 1 by 2AE into, now if you like integrate this, so first let's expand this term. So this one will be P square, first term is P square into x plus second term is gamma a x square, gamma square a square, gamma square a square. Now this should be x square, so x square into dx will be x cube by 3. Okay, plus your, so here in the third term will become 2p gamma a x. So this will be 2p gamma a. Now this x dx will become x square by 2. Okay, now the limit is from 0 to L. Okay, so we can find, like write gamma is equal to, so u is equal to 1 by 2AE times of, now this will become our P square L plus gamma square a square L cube by 3. Okay, plus 2p gamma a L square and upon 2. So this will be term left. Okay, so from, like if I solve this so completely, so P square L by 2AE plus gamma square a L cube by 6a or 6e. Okay, plus now this term will become P gamma L square by 2e. Okay, so these three terms will be in the expression of your strain energy. So the answer will be gamma square a L cube by 6e, P square L by 2e, P gamma L square by 2e. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Okay, sorry, here it is E, but here it should be 2e. This one is the correct. Okay, now moving to next question. Now this question, it is mentioned that a rigid bar AC, so AC bar is rigid bar AC is supported by 3 rods of same material. Okay, so these 3 rods are So this, let's see, this is road 1, road 2 and road 3. Okay, these three roads have same material and equal dia. The bar AC is initially horizontal. If a force P is applied in such a way that bar AC continues to remain horizontal, so this bar will continue to remain horizontal. Force in each of the shorter bars and in longer bar are okay. So we have to find the force in these bars. Okay, so let's say that when we apply our load, so this AC bar moves to this point. Okay, AC bar moves to this point. So this delta is our extension. Okay, so I can say that delta 1 is equal to delta 2 is equal to delta 3. Okay, now let's say that how to find value of your delta. Sorry, like we know that delta is equal to PL by IE for a given bar, but how to find the corresponding load for each of these three bars? Okay, so let's say that F1, F2 and F3 are the forces in your three bars. So let's write the equation here. So we can write F1 is the load in our A, F1 L1 by AE, both area, for all the three roads, area and A and E are same because maintain same material, so E is same, equal diameter, so area is same, is equal to F2 L2 by AE is equal to F3 L1. L3 length is L1 upon AE. Okay, so from this equation what we can say? We can say that F1 is equal to F2 times of L2 by L1. Okay, and F1 is equal to F3, or let me write here only, is equal to F3. Okay, so I can say F1 is equal to F3 and F2 is equal to, so it is mentioned that our L2 is equal to 2L1. Okay, so I can write F1 is equal to 2F2 is equal to F3. Okay, so if I want to write the equation of equilibrium equation, so I can write this P is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3. Okay, so F1 value is F1 is F1 plus F2 we can write it as F1 by 2. Okay, plus F3 we can write as F1. So from here I can write F1 is equal, okay, and this if we add this, so we will get 5 upon 2. Okay, 4 plus 5 by 2 F1. So F1 we can get 2P by 5. This is our F1. Okay, and if you want to write, and this value will also be equal to our F3. If I want to write F2, so I can write F2 is equal to P by 5. Okay, now it is mentioned that we have to calculate the force in shorter bar and longer bar. So this is our shorter bar. This value will be 2 by 5 is our 0.4 P. Okay, and this value of F2, that is in longer bar, is 0.2 P. So 0.4 P and 0.2 P, 0.4 P and 0.2 P. So option A is correct. So this is our next question. It is mentioned that a road shown in the figure is subjected such that lower part is made of steel and upper part is made of copper. Both of the end of the rod are rigidly clamped. Okay, rigidly clamped. If the axial force P is applied at the junction of the two material, given that ratio of E steel and E upon E copper is equal to 2, okay, the force in copper end would be, so force in the copper end would be, okay, so let's say that, that due to this load force, R direction is acting in this direction. Okay, so if I draw the FBD for these both parts, so this is our copper, or let me write Cu. Okay, and this is our steel. Okay, so if this R is acting here, so here also this R should be acting in compressive way only. Now at this section, the net load of P is acting in downward direction. Okay, So I can write that this load on copper will be P minus R. Okay. Now if we add both P minus R and R, we will obtain the P net P in our downward direction. So hence here also in the upward direction, this should be P minus R. Okay. Now we know that since both are like rigidly clamped between two supports, so net delta is equal to delta copper plus delta steel should be our 0. So now we can write that delta copper can be, delta copper is this. So this the load is acting as P minus R. Okay, and length is 2L by 3, 2L by 3 upon area A, and E is our E copper. Okay, plus steel we can write R, and since it is like in compression, so minus R into L is our L by 3, L by 3, and A as it is E of steel is equal to 0. Okay, so from here I can write like I can take L by A common from both sides, and I can send into another side, that will become 0. So from here I will be left with P minus R times 2 by 3 times E of copper. Okay, plus or minus R by 3 into E of steel. I can write it as 2 times of E of copper. 2 times E of copper is equal to 0. Okay, so from here I can obtain send the value of E copper to another side. Okay, so I will get 2 by 3 times of P is equal to R into 2 by 3 plus 1 by 6. Okay, so if I solve this, I will obtain P or R. Like if I solve this, so this section it will become 5 by 6, 5 by 6 R. Okay, so I will get R is equal to 6 by 5 into 2 by 3 P, and this will become 3 to the 6 is equal to 4 by 5 P. Okay, now it is asked what is the stress force in the copper. So force in copper will be our P minus R. Okay, so P minus R is P, we know P minus R is 4 by 5 P, so we get P by 5, and this is in tension. Okay, so option A is correct. Okay, now we will move to next question. In this question it is mentioned that a rigid beam, ABCD is a rigid beam, okay, is hinged at point D and supported by two springs A and B as shown in the figure. The beam carries a vertical load P at point C. The stiffness of point of spring A is 2K and spring at B is K. Okay, so the ratio of force of spring A and what is the spring force of spring A and force of spring B. Okay, so let's say that there will be some okay, in this system what will happen? Due to the load, there will be some deflection, there will be some motion of your bar. Okay, so your bar will come at this point, final point. Okay, or I can also draw it at this. So okay, so our bar will look like this, or as earlier I have drawn it in your single line, so that will be beneficial here. So if I show it in the single line, so I can show that this is our deflection at A, deflection at A, deflection at B, and deflection at C. Okay, now this line, it is our A dash, B dash, C dash, and D. So this will remain straight because this is a rigid beam. Rigid beam, there will be no deformation, so the beam bar will always remain straight. Okay, now we can say from for this triangle, we can say from your similar triangles that delta A upon your length AD, that is 3A, is equal to delta B upon 2A is equal to delta C upon A. I hope you understood this point. Okay, Now from here we can say that delta A by 3 is equal to delta B by 2 is equal to delta C. Okay. Now if let's say that Fa is the force acting at A, that here the spring force will be, let's say Fa is the spring force, here spring force is Fb. Okay, so I can write that delta A can be written as your delta A can be written as F A into L, or sorry, here like this is spring, so in case of spring you know that force of due to spring is equal to K of spring into X, that is displacement of spring. Okay, so from the diagram you should like mention this as equation 1. Okay, so this is our equation 1. Now what else we can write? We can write that delta A value we know, we can write from this equation f of spring, that is Fa upon your K value. K is our 2K. Okay, now here we can write delta B is equal to Fb upon K. Okay, now this equation, let's say 2. Now from equation 1 and 2 I can write delta A, that is Fa upon 2K divided by 3, okay, is equal to Fb upon K into 2, from equation 1 and 2. From 1 and 2 we can write this equation. So it is asked as ratio of force of spring A and force of spring B, so we can write Fa upon Fb is equal to this term here 2 into 3 upon 2 is equal to 3. So answer is C3. Now moving to next question. Okay, now in this question it is mentioned that a square plate of AA, okay, rigidly held at 3 edges. So this dimension is A, both dimension is A, square plate of AA. Now it's mentioned that it is rigidly held by 3 faces. So from these faces it is rigidly fixed. Now it is mentioned that the fourth held by 3 edges is free to move along the fourth edge. If the temperature of plate is raised by T, then the free expansion at the fourth edge will be, okay, so what will be your value of like free expansion at this point? Okay, now like if say your plate will be under your free expansion. Okay, so after free expansion it will like take some shape like this. Okay, now due to your restriction, so there will be some lateral force acting along this to keep this dimension fixed. Okay, to keep this dimension fixed there should be some lateral force acting. Let's say this force to be Fy. Okay, so what we can say that our initial, like if there was free expansion, then the your like vertical elongation would be A times of alpha T. Okay, and this should be equal to your compression provided or shortening of a bar due to your external load Fy. So Fy into A by A, that is let's say that A unit, and let's say that depth is your 1 unit. Okay, okay, or I can say that they, let's say that not instead of Fy, let's say this sigma y. Okay, now I can write here sigma y into A, that is length, and upon E. So from here I can calculate the value of sigma y is equal to I can write it as alpha T E. Okay, this is our sigma y. Now if I want to like it is mentioned the free expansion at the fourth edge will be, so expansion along this way. If I say, now let's see that this is x axis direction, this is y axis direction. So we can write that elongation along x axis can be written as your first your thermal expansion, free thermal expansion, that is A alpha T And second, due to your presence of your like this sigma y, so there will be increase in the lateral increase in your x direction length because of this stress presence. So this will be represented by plus sigma y plus mu sigma y by E. This is our strain into length, that is A. Okay, now we know that sigma y value is given by alpha TE, so we can write it as A alpha T plus mu, and the sigma y is alpha T E, so alpha T into A. Okay, so here we can write delta x is equal to, now from here we can take A alpha T to be common, so A alpha T into 1 plus mu. So here option B is correct. Okay, so in this question it is mentioned that a bar of elastic material is subjected to direct compressive strength of sigma 1 in longitudinal direction. So let's say that this is our bar. So this is the given bar. Now it is mentioned that sigma 1 is the compressive stress acting along longitudinal direction. So this is our sigma 1 in this direction and in your other direction, sigma 1, okay, in this plane. Okay, this should look like something like this. Okay, now this sigma 1 is acting here. Now it is mentioned that in the suitable lateral compressive stress sigma 2 is applied along other two faces. So sigma 2 is applying along this face, sigma 2, and along this face, sigma 2. Now this stress is applied in two lateral direction to limit the net strain in the each of the lateral direction. To limit the net strain in each of the lateral direction. Okay, such that, like, say this is our x, y, and z. So it is mentioned that the strain in your y or z direction should be half of the magnitude of what it should be under your sigma 1 acting alone. Okay, now in this case, let's say what should be our strain in y direction. So strain in y direction under your triaxial state of stress. Okay, so, or you can say triaxial state of stress. So in this case, your stress should be negative, strain should be negative of like sigma 2, or I can write it as like, since all stresses are negative, so sigma 2 by E minus mu times of sigma 2 by E. Now this should be become plus, and here again plus sigma 1 by E. Earlier it should be minus, but since sigma 1 and sigma 2 here are also negative, so this will become positive. Now if I say that sigma y, when like only your uniaxial stress, only sigma 1 is acting, so in that case sigma 1 value will be minus mu times of sigma 1, and sigma 1, this sigma 1 will be your negative, so this will become positive. So this will be value. Okay, now it is mentioned that it is like sigma 2 is applied such that your half the magnitude of strain is half the magnitude of what it should be, like this. So you can mention minus sigma 2 by E plus mu times of sigma 2 by E plus mu times of sigma 1 by E is equal to half times of mu times of sigma 1 by E. Okay, so from here I can write sigma 2 by E into mu minus 1 is equal to sigma 1 by E into mu times of, this is a half minus 1. Okay, so from here we obtain our value of minus half. So if we like this will be obstructed. If you like sigma 2, so sigma 2 is given by mu times of sigma 1 divided by 2 times of 1 minus mu sigma 1 upon 2 times of 1 minus mu. So this option C is the correct one here. So in this question it is mentioned that our steel rod of cross section area 2000 mm square, and steel rod 2000 mm square, and 2 copper rods each of cross section 1000 meter square. Okay, so these are both are copper, this is steel, and length of all the all these bars are given. It is mentioned that together they support load of 500 kilonewton. Okay, stress is generated in copper and steel rod. Okay, so we have to calculate the both stresses, what will be the stress is generated. Okay, so let's say that this is our final position of the assembly. Okay, so this will be our delta, that is the actual delta that is happening. Okay, now we can write this delta as delta of copper, and this should be also be equal to delta of steel. Okay, since both of copper, these copper are having same length and same dimension, so there we can treat them as combined as one. Okay, or let's write it let's take it 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay, so I can say that delta 1 is equal to delta 2 is equal to delta 3. Okay, so let's say that F1 is acting on your bar 1, so F1 into L is given as 300 divided by area, or let's write L only. Okay, L by A or L1 by A is A1, or I can write L as L of copper, A of copper into E of copper. Okay, is equal to F2 times of L of steel upon A of steel into E of steel. Okay, is equal to F3 times of L of copper. Okay, divided by A of copper and E of copper. Okay, so from here I can write F1 is equal to L steel by L copper into E copper by E steel into A copper by A steel into F2 is equal to F3. Okay, so I can say that F1 is equal to F3. So in both the copper, our force will remain same, and if we substitute all the values here, so I will get F1 is equal to, now let's say L of steel is our 400 mm, L of copper is 300. Okay, into E of copper is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 5. E of steel, sorry, this is power 5. Okay, E of steel is our 2 into 10 to the power 5. A of copper is mentioned, copper would have 1000 mm square, and for our steel it is mentioned 2000 mm square into F2 is equal to F3. Now if we solve all this, so we will obtain, let me do it here, 4 divided by 3 into 12 divided by 20. Okay, divided by 2. So this will become F1 is equal to 0.4 times of F2. Okay, so this will become let me look at it again. So this will become 4, 2, 2 by 3, 2.4, 1 by 2. Let me calculate it again. 2 by 3 times of 4 by 3 times of 1.2 divided by 2 divided by 2.4. Okay, 0.4 F2 is equal to F3. So this becomes our equation 1. Okay, now it is mentioned that, so from here we can also write from equilibrium equation that F1 plus F2 plus F3 becomes 500 kilonewton. Okay, so if we substitute, let's say value of F2 is equal to, or I can substitute value of F1 and F3 in the terms of your F2 only. So this will be 0.4 times of F2 plus 0.4 times of F2 is equal to 500. So from here I can calculate value of F2 is equal to 500 divided by, so if this will get 1.8. Okay, so we have obtained F2 is equal to 277.78 kilonewton. Okay, now we can from here using equation 1 we can write F1 is equal to we have obtained F2, so we will multiply it by 0.4 to obtain value of F1, that is our 111.11 kilonewton. Okay, now since we have obtained the value of F, so we can calculate the stress values. So stress is our force upon area, so sigma 1 will be F1 upon A1. Okay, now this let's write it in this way. So F of, or sigma of copper is equal to F1 by area of copper. Okay, so F1 is our 111.11 and area of copper is given as 1000. So from here I can write it as 111.11 megapascal. Okay, now if I want to calculate sigma of steel, so I can write F2, that is acting on steel upon area of steel. Okay, so this is 277.78 divided by 2000. Now this will be like in this in kilonewton, so let's convert it into newton. Okay, so 277 divided by 78 divided by 2. Okay, so this will become value of as sigma steel will 13, sorry, there is some mistake, 277.78. okay, divided by 2. This will become 138.89 megapascal. Okay, so our options are, so it is asked what is the stress generated in copper and steel. So copper is 111 and 138, 111 and 138. So this is our correct option. Now moving to next question. Now it is mentioned that in question number 25 it is mentioned that a steel bar of length L, that is fixed at both ends. It is fixed at both ends, having length L, is subjected to non-uniform increase in temperature given by Tx is equal to, this is our increase in temperature. Okay, so if we like move x distance away from one end, and let's say we have considered an element of thickness dx. Okay, so for dx element the change in temperature is Tx. Okay, so for this dx we can write the small change in length due to thermal expansion, will be given by our L alpha delta T. L is our dx into alpha into Tx, or it is written as this Tx. Okay, so we can write alpha into Tx is our T into x cube by L cube into dx. So if you like want to obtain your total change in total extension or total, it is mentioned that what is the compressive stress. Okay, so this should be our like small change in length if it was free expansion. Okay, now since this free expansion is contained within your system, so it can be written as is equal to, let's say sigma is the stress, so I can write it as sigma times of L, that is dx, upon E, that is Young modulus. Okay, I hope you understood till here. Okay, now if I like integrate this, so in integration I will like write it as alpha T into x cube by L cube dx from 0 to L is equal to sigma by E dx integration from 0 to L. So from here I can obtain alpha T into upon L cube, since it is constant. Now x cube dx will be done as x ki power 4 by 4. So this will become L ki power 4 upon 4 is equal to sigma E sigma upon E into this dx integration will become x, and applying limit it will become L. Now from here I can write it as our sigma value to be alpha T E by 4. Okay, so correct option is D. Now moving to next question, that is question number 26. So in question number 26 it is mentioned that assuming E and G for a material a stress tensor is given as this. The shear stress tau xy. Okay, so this is strain tensor. Okay, now we know that strain tensor, it is mentioned shear stress xy. Okay, so we know that in strain tensor it is mentioned at phi xy, or since we have to like phi xy by 2, value is given by this equation, this value. Okay, 0.004. so from here we can write like in strain in section xy is 0.008. okay, now it is asked what is the value of your tau xy. So we know that strain in xy can be written as tau xy upon g. okay, in case of our shear stress we use modulus of rigidity. So from here we can write tau xy is equal to phi xy into g. Now we know that value of g is given as 100 gigapascal. So from here we can write it as our this term is 100 like 800 megapascal. 800 megapascal. So option C is the correct option here. Okay, now in question number 27, it is mentioned that a cube having each side of A is constrained in all direction and is heated uniformly so that the temperature is raised to T degrees Celsius. Okay, if alpha is the thermal coefficient of expansion of the cube material and E is the Young modulus of elasticity, the stress developed in the cube is. So in case of like your cube having like each side constraint size, so we can write that for cube volume is equal to our A cube. Okay, A cube, we can write delta V is equal to 3 A square delta A. So from here I can write delta V upon V is equal to 3 times delta A upon A. Okay, so our volumetric strain for cube can be given as 3 times of volumetric strain of longitudinal volumetric strain. Okay, now from this equation we can write that our volumetric strain is also known by like your bulk, using bulk modulus, that is a sigma average upon bulk modulus K. Now if this system will be restrained from all direction, so sigma will be like same for at every point of the material. Okay, so we can write sigma average is equal to sigma by 3, or directly write it as sigma. Okay, it is sigma 1 plus sigma 2 plus sigma 3 by 3, this should be. But if like all the sigmas are equal, so the sigma average will become sigma upon K. Now I can write like K from elastic constant using equation of elastic constant. And what is that equation? E is equal to 3K into 1 minus 2 mu. Okay, so I can write K is equal to E into 3 into 1 minus 2 mu. So from this equation we can like equate both. So I can write sigma by E times of 3 times of sigma by E, or 3 times of 1 minus 2 mu times of sigma by E is equal to 3 epsilon. Okay, now this epsilon can be written as 3 times of L, that is A alpha T. Okay, sorry, not A alpha T only. Okay, because L alpha T is the change in length, strain is alpha T. So if we like use this, so I can like solving this, I can get sigma is equal to alpha T E upon this 3 will like oscillate this 3 1 minus 2 mu, alpha T E upon 1 minus 2 mu, alpha T E upon 1 minus 2 mu. So option B is correct. Now moving to question number 28, it is mentioned that a thin plate of uniform thickness is subjected to pressure as shown in the figure. So this is, let's say, pressure P. Okay, now it is mentioned that under the assumption of plane stress, what is one of the following, which of the following is correct? Normal stress is 0 in Z direction, is correct. Normal stress is 0 in that direction. Normal stress is tensile in z direction. Normal stress is compressive in z direction. Normal stress varies in. So looking at the figure, you can say that all the like stresses are acting in xy plane only. In z direction, there is no stress. Although that due to presence of this pressure, there will be some strain, presence of strain in your z direction, but there won't be any stress. So normal stress is 0 along z direction is the correct statement. Okay. Moving to next question. So in this question, it is mentioned that in the arrangement of as shown in the figure, the stepped bar ABC is loaded by load P. Load P here, okay. The material has Young modulus of this, and two portion AB and BC have an area of cross section 1 centimeter square and 2 centimeter square, okay, respectively. The magnitude of load P required to fill up the gap. So we have to fill up this gap, okay. So what should be the value of P? So let's like first since it is case of your stepped bar, let's explore the different part, okay. This is part 1, this is our part 2, okay. So let's say that we have filled the complete part. So this part is filled. So at that point there won't be any reaction between points like at point C, because it is just touching the this surface. There isn't any interaction between them. There isn't any reaction, any resulting force on the surface, okay. It means that net force on this will be 0. So this bar 2 will, or bar BC we can say, BC will remain on, there will no load on BC, okay, but there will be load on P, load given on AB, that is P, okay. So there should be like reaction of P, okay. So if we write the change in length, so change in length will be delta AB plus delta BC, and this change is allowed up to 0.75 mm, okay, 0.75 mm it is provided us, okay. So we have to fill this gap. So for that we let's write P into L. L is 1, P into 1 meter, so we will write in mm, that is 1000. Area it is mentioned that 1 centimeter square is our 10 power 4, or sorry, 1 centimeter is our 10 mm. So 1 centimeter square is our 100 mm square into E. E is given, E Young modulus given 200 gigapascal, 200 gigapascal, or let's keep it in gigapascal only. So we will obtain our value of P in kilonewton, okay. Plus delta BC is 0 because there is no load, is equal to 0.75. So if we solve this, so let's do it. 0.75 into 20. So we obtain P is equal to 15 kilonewton. So with this, so option B is correct, okay. Now we will move to the next question. So in this question number 32, it is mentioned that a metallic rod of 500 mm length and 50 mm diameter, which is subjected to a tensile force of 100 kilonewton at ends, okay, experience an increase in length by 0.5 mm, the reduction in its diameter by this mm, the Poisson ratio of the rod of material is, okay. So we have been given that metallic rod, this length and 50 mm diameter subjected to tensile force of this, the experience the increase in length by 0.5 mm. So we know that we can calculate the strain in both your x and y direction, okay. So if we talk about change in length, so change in length of the material can be given as, or let me write it, delta L can be given as, since it is like your loaded axial loaded, so PL by AE, we know that the value of P is our 100 kilonewton into L is our 500 mm, area is pi by 4 into D square, that is D square is 50 square into E, some value E, okay, and this E should be in our gigapascal, okay. So we are doing question number 32, okay. Now what else is mentioned, that is reduction in its diameter. Okay, so we know that reduction in diameter can be given as delta D is equal to, or delta D, or we can talk about our lateral strain. This strain is given by minus mu times of sigma 1 sigma L longitudinal stress upon E, that is our P by AE. Okay, now this is value is given to be, so from here I can calculate our change in diameter, and here also change in length is given as 0.5 mm, 0.5, and this delta D is given as minus mu times of P is given by 100 km upon A is pi by 4 into 50 square into E is equal to, this value is given as decrease reduction in size is 0.015. Okay, sorry, and here it should be diameter D, and diameter D is our value is 50 mm, 50. Okay, now if I solve this, if I like divide both equations, let's say this is 1, this is 2, if I do 1 divided by 2, so I will get, or let's do 2 divided by 1. Okay, so here I will get minus mu. Okay, divided by, so 100 and 100 will be obsoleted, A and E will be obsoleted, we will get 50 into 500 is equal to, here I will get minus 0.015 divided by 0.5. Okay, so if I want to, if I solve this, so I will obtain 50 into 500 into 0.015 divided by 0.5. So this term, okay, so there is some mistake. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this 50 will come in numerator and 500 will be in denominator. This 50 will be here. Okay, so from here I will get 0.1015 divided by 0.5 into 10 is 0.3. So we have obtained value of mu is equal to 0.3. Okay, 0.3. Okay, so in this question number 33, it is mentioned that a plate of dimension L cross L is subjected to uniform pressure P of 250 megapascal on its edges as shown in the figure. Okay, so pressure P is applied from all the sides. Assume the plane stress condition. The Young modulus E is equal to 200 gigapascal. The deformed shape of square is measured at L minus 2 delta. If L is equal to 2 meter and delta is equal to 0.1 meter, the position ratio of the material plate is. Okay, so we have been like if I want, let's say, calculate your strain or change in length, change in length along one side, so I can write, like, let's write strain first. Okay, so let's say this is our y dimension, this is x dimension. Okay, so I can say that strain in x is equal to sigma x, this is our relation, sigma x by E minus mu times of sigma y by E. Okay, now if I want to write, so I can write sigma x is equal to minus p by E minus mu times of, again sigma y is again minus p, so this will become plus p by E. So our epsilon x becomes p by E into mu minus 1. Okay, now we know that strain is our change in length upon initial length. The change in length is final length minus initial length, that is L minus 2 delta minus L divided by initial length was L. Okay, so from here I obtained P by, okay, so let's substitute the values here. Okay, so P value is 250 in megapascal. Similarly, E value is equal to 200 into 10 to the power 3. This is also in megapascal. Okay, now again this mu minus 1 is remain same, is equal to N minus 2 delta minus L will be minus 2 delta. Okay, so minus 2 into delta is given as 0.001. Okay, divided by L, and L is given as 2 meter, that is 2000 mm, or I can write 2 meter only. Okay, because here this term is also in our meter. Now from here, if we solve this, sorry, so if we like use the calculator, so we can calculate this as 0.001 into 200 into 3000 divided by 250. Okay, and this will become value of your mu minus 1 is minus times of this. Okay, this will be negative. Okay, now plus 1 if we do, so we will obtain value of mu is equal to 0.2. Okay, so I obtained value of mu is equal to 0.2. This was only asked 0.2. Okay, now if you move to question number 34, so it is mentioned that 200 long stress-free rod at a room temperature is held between two immovable rigid walls. The temperature of rods is uniformly raised by 250 degrees Celsius. If the Young modulus and coefficient of thermal expansion is given as this and this, the magnitude of longitudinal stress are double. Okay, so if it was, let's say, your free expansion, so free expansion we can write the value of strain value will be our alpha t. Alpha value is 1 into 10 to the power minus alpha t. Okay, and this strain will be like recovered by using our internal stress or using our external load. Internal stress created due to construction of your subject. Okay, so this can be written as sigma upon E. Okay, so if you substitute the values, we know that the value of alpha is -5. If you want to like calculate temperature of T, so it is mentioned that stress free at room temperature and held between the immovable rod, the temperature of the rod is uniformly raised by 250 degrees Celsius. So T value is 250 is equal to sigma. Sigma we have to calculate. It is asked what is the magnitude of longitudinal stress upon E. E is given as 200 gigapascal. So 200 into 10 to the power 3. Okay, so if we solve this, we will get value is equal to 250 into 2, that is 500 megapascal. Okay, now moving to next question. Now in this question number 35, it is mentioned that rod is subjected to your uniaxial load within linear elastic limit. When the change in stress is 200 megapascal, the change in strain is given as this. If the Poisson ratio of material is 0.3, the modulus of rigidity. Okay, so we know that like within the elastic limit, our relation of E is given by 2g into 1 plus mu. Okay, now it is given that when the change in load is 200. Okay, so it is mentioned that change in stress is this and then strain is this. So we know that from within your elastic limit, Young modulus E is represented by slope of your stress strain curve. So E is equal to sigma upon epsilon. Now sigma value is given as 200 and strain value is given 0.001. So this E will be 200 gigapascal. Now we can use it here. So 200 gigapascal is equal to 2 times of G will also be in gigapascal into 1 plus mu. Mu is value is 0.3. So if we solve this, so we can do 200 divided by 2 divided by 1.3. So we have obtained value of G is equal to 76.92. G is equal to 76.92 gigapascal. Okay, this is our answer. Now in question number 36, it is mentioned. So this is our question number 35. Now question number 36. A mild steel MS bar is subjected to the following. If E is equal to 200 gigapascal in elongation in 3 sections of bar are delta 1, delta 2, delta 3 respectively, then the ratio. Okay, so let's say this is 1, this is bar 2, this is bar 3. Okay, now what next mentioned, the ratio of greatest to the least of the elongation will be. Okay, so like largest elongation to smallest elongation. So we know that if we like draw the FBD for your stepped bar, I have told you earlier that in case of stepped bar, first of all draw your like exploded
schematic. Okay, this is our is exploded schematic. Now this is bar 1, this is bar 2, this is bar 3. Okay, now it is mentioned that 4 kilonewton is applied to this side, 4 kilonewton. Okay, so here also it should be 4 kilonewton, and since there is no load acting on this interaction, this intersection, so here in this section also this should be 4 kilonewton, such that net load at this point is 0. Similarly, now here it is 4 kilonewton, so this should be 4 kilonewton. Okay, now here this should be also 4 kilonewton, and here it is given as 4 kilonewton. Okay, so your system is completely balanced now. So if you want to like calculate delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, so I can write delta 1 is equal to PL, that is 4 into L. L is our 200 for this, PL by A. Value of area cross section pi by 4, time of d square, that is 20 square. Okay, into E. E is given as 200 gigapascal, because since 4 is in kilonewton, I directly substituted in giganewton. Okay, and delta 2 can be written as 4 into 200 divided by pi by 4 into 10 chi square into 200. Okay, so from here I can see that all this like values, so I can write, okay, or I can write it like this, or let's compute in this way, that way only, into 200 is length upon pi by 4 into 30 chi square into 200. Okay, so from here I can write this is k upon 20 square, this is our k upon 10 square, this is our k upon 30 square. Okay, so I can say that delta 2 value is greatest because the denominator is least in this, and followed by delta 1, followed by delta 3. Okay, now it is mentioned that the ratio of greatest to the least of elongations, so greatest elongation is delta 2 upon least elongation is delta 3. We have to calculate this ratio. Now delta 2 is 1 upon k upon 10 square, and it is k upon 30, delta 3 is k upon 30 square, so this should be our 9. Okay, so answer is 9. Now moving to next question. So in question number 38, it is mentioned that the elongation of stepped bar is shown in the figure, and due to its self weight is gamma weight density of the bar. Okay, so both bar have the weight density of gamma only. Okay, here also gamma, here also gamma. Okay, so now let's say that I have moved a distance of x from here, and this distance is for our first bar only. Okay, and here I have considered an element of it dx. We have to calculate of course like due to self weight. Okay, so for self weight I can say, or I can like directly apply your principle of superposition. Okay, so let me like explode this bar. So if we explode the bar, so this will be our first part. Let's say this is part 1, this is bar 1, this is bar 2. Okay, and this is our bar 2. So bar 1 and bar 2. Okay, now both bar have a length L, this having diameter d, this having diameter d by 2. Okay, now what we can say in the bar d, if we talk about bar 2, this the like expansion, if we talk about like for bar 2, our elongation will be due to self weight only. Okay, now in bar 1, if we say that in this intersection there will be load acting, that is equal to weight of 2, and that is gamma into pi by 4 d square into L. Okay, so and here also like self weight of bar. So we can say that our for elongation, since it is like directly proportional to our load, so we can apply all three like principles of superposition here. So I can write delta of like say point C, so delta of point C, or let me do it in stepwise. So let's say that this is point A, this is point B, and this is point C. Okay, so if I want to write delta of A, so this will be 0 because it is a fixed edge. If I want to write delta B, so I can write delta B as delta A plus self weight of this bar. Self weight is our W1 L by A 2AE, okay, 2AE, okay. With the addition to this, there is also elongation due to this weight W2, and here this would be A, this would be B, and this would be B and C, okay. Like due to this weight W, we can write W2L by AE, okay. Now if I want to calculate this, so I can write delta B is equal, since delta is 0, we can substitute it equal to 0. Now WL is our gamma pi by 4D, so let me like substitute the values here. So gamma AL, this is WL will be gamma AL, so gamma L upon 2E, this will become, okay, plus similarly if I like want to substitute this here, so I can write this is W2 is gamma, and if I, so here like if I write A1 and A2, so let me write A1 value. So area of cross section of 1 can be written as pi by 4 into D square. Now D is D by 2, so D square by 4, and A2 is equal to pi by 4 D square, okay. So A1, or I can say that A2 upon A2 is equal to 4 times of A1, okay. Now we will use this here. So like in the case of W1L, so it was area 1 A1, okay, and here also it is A1, okay. Now if I substitute W2 is equal to our gamma times of A2 times of L, so if I substitute, I will get gamma L by, now this if I like substitute the value of A2 by A1, so A2 by A1 given by 4, okay, so I can write 4 here, that will be our 4 times of gamma L by E, okay. So if I like solve this, so I will get 4.5, that is 9 by 2, 9 by 2 times of gamma L by E. Now if I want to calculate the change, the like elongation at point C, so I can do it like, now this should be L square, okay, L square and L square. So delta C will be our delta B plus self weight elongation due to self weight of bar 2, so that will be our W2L by 2A2E, okay. Now I can like substitute the values here. So delta B is our 9 by 2 gamma L square by E, and this can be W2 can be written as gamma A2L, so it will become gamma L by 2E, okay. Now if I like take LCM, so I will calculate delta C is equal to 11 by 2 gamma L square, so this is L square by 2, sorry, gamma is L square by E. So this is our final answer, okay. It would be 10 by 2, that is 5, okay. Now moving to question number 39. So it is mentioned that a horizontal bar with constant cross section is subjected to loading as shown in the figure. The Young modulus of section AB is 3E and BC is E. So since this is also like two different materials, so let's explore them first. So this is our material 1, that is AB. This is our BC. This is BC, okay. Now it is mentioned that here force F is applied, force F. So this will also cause like there should be also be a positive force F. Now at section B, net force of P is acting in our left side. So here the force should be P minus F. Only then this net force will be P. So this bar AB in compression with force P minus F, okay. Now what is mentioned, the deflection at point C to be 0, the ratio of P by F, okay. So deflection at this point delta is equal to 0, okay. So only this point can move either this side or this side, okay. So let's calculate the deflection due to AB. Deflection of AB is equal to P minus F. L is the same, A, area of cross section is same, into like E is 3, and if I talk about your delta BC, so I can write it as F times of L by AE, okay. Now if I it is mentioned in the question, so net deflection to be 0, so deflection at C can be written as delta AB plus delta BC, and this value should be equal to 0. So P minus F times of L upon, so this is given 3AE plus FL by AE will equal to 0. And one more thing, this is like acting compression, so this should be negative. Okay, now if we like expand this, so we will get PL by 3AE is equal to FL by 3AE plus FL by AE. Okay, now we can find value of P by F is equal to 3 upon 1 by 3 plus 1, or like this will be this 3 into 1 by 3 plus 1, so this will become 3 into 4 by 3, so this value will be 4. So answer is 4. So in this question it is mentioned that a circular metallic rod of length 250 mm is placed between two rigid immovable walls as shown in the figure. So these two are walls. Okay, these are walls. Now the rod is perfectly contact with the wall on the left side, and there is a gap of 0.2 mm between the rod and the wall at trial temperature. If the temperature of the rod is increased by 200 degrees Celsius, the axial stress developed in the rod is, okay, so let's say that if it was like allowed for your free expansion, so this figure, let's say it will happen like the length will increase up to this point. Okay, now what happens, like due to restriction, so there is some external load acting, and this external load causes this external load P, let's say P is external load, and this causes your extension to remain up to this point. Okay, so this is our delta actual. Okay, so this distance was our delta thermal, but this is given as like our, either call it like delta actual, or we also call it in terms of lambda. Some MOOCs is mentioned at lambda, that is allowable increase. Okay, so we can like write, if we like say it is a case of free expansion. So case of free extension is, or from here, but from here first we can write delta TH minus, and this decrement will be our delta due to load P. Okay, minus delta due to load P is equal to lambda. Okay, so delta TH will be L alpha delta T. L is length into alpha into T. Okay, minus delta P will be P L by A, or here it is as axial stress developed, so we can directly use the term sigma, so we can write it sigma L by E. Okay, is equal to lambda. Now if you substitute the values here, so 250 is the length into alpha is given as 10 to the minus 5, and temperature rises 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, minus sigma we have to calculate into L is given as 250 divided by E value is given as 200 gigapascal, so I can consider it into your convert it into megapascal. So 200 into 10 to the power 3. Okay, now I can so this will be equal to our 0.2 mm, that is our allowable increment. Now if we solve this, so let's solve this. 250 into 200 divided by 10 to the power 5. Okay, now if we like send this on the right side and bring it to left side, so this will be minus 0.2, and then into 200,000 divided by 250. So we have obtained our sigma value to be 240 megapascal, and this will be the stress value that will be developed in your bar. Okay, now moving to next question. Now we will start question number 41. So in this it is mentioned that point mass of 100 kg is dropped onto a massless elastic bar. Cross section area is given, length is given, elastic modulus, Young modulus is given. Now it is mentioned the height h is 10 mm as shown in the figure. Okay, now the maximum compression of the elastic bar is, okay, so like if we like see that, let's say that after the impact our bar moves a distance of delta, bar is compressed by distance delta. Okay, so our ball will move from distance of here to h plus delta. Okay, now we can say that since energy of the system will remain closed, so the energy initial energy of system is, what is the initial energy of the system? That is our potential energy of the mass. So potential energy of mass is mgh, and this mgh plus delta, this will become mgh plus delta. Okay, is equal to final energy, and final energy will be at this point your what is your energy stored in the bar only. Okay, so this will be half into P into delta, and here this P is our equivalent load that will be acting. Okay, so we can also write another equation like delta is equal to PL by AE. So from here I can write P is equal to AE by L into delta. Okay, and this term is also known as a axial stiffness. Okay, so I can write it here as mg into h plus delta is equal to half times of AE upon L into delta square. Okay, now if I substitute values here, so m is our 100 into g is 10. This will become our Newton. Okay, mg is Newton. Now here h is in our mm, that is 10 mm, plus delta is also in our mm. Okay, now here I will like obtain. Okay, so let's convert it into meter. Okay, so 10 to the power minus 3. So or like if I want to, okay, so here I like done this, so I will obtain the value of delta is mm only. Okay, now I have like half into area is our 100 into E is our gigapascal, so 100 into 10 to the power 3, so this will become our Newton. Okay, divided by L is in meter, our 1 meter, and delta square. Now this delta square is in our, if we require it in our mm, so we will multiply it by 10 to the power minus 6 to convert into meter. Okay, so if we solve this, so I will obtain 10 to the power 6, so 10 to the power 3, 5 and 6, this term will be omitted. Now here 3, so this term will omit this term, and from here I will obtain 10 plus delta is equal to 5 delta square. Okay, so 5 delta square minus delta minus 10 is equal to 0. So delta is equal to plus 1 plus minus square root of b square minus 4 into AC, that is 5 into minus 10. Okay, divided by 2a, 2 into 5. So if we solve this, so we will obtain 1 plus this minus become 4, 5 for the 20, 200. Okay, now if you take a square root of this, plus 1 divided by 10, so I obtain a value of delta is equal to 1.518 mm. Okay, so this is our correct option here, correct answer. Okay, 1.52, I can write 1.52. Okay, in two decimal places. Now we have solved this question. Now we will move into our next question. Now in this question it is mentioned that a load of 60 kilonewton is applied. 60 kilonewton is applied to a rigid bar. Okay, so ABC is a rigid bar suspended by 3 wires as shown in the figure. Okay, what force will resist by which wire? Okay, the outside, what force will resist by which wire? Okay, now what else is mentioned? It is mentioned that the outside wire are aluminium, so these are aluminium wires, and the cross section area is 300 mm square, length is 4 meter, and the central wire is steel with area of 200 mm square. Okay, steel, aluminium have 3 mm square, steel have 200 mm square, and length is 8 meter. Initially there is no slack in the wires, is equal to this for steel, this for aluminium. Okay, so let's consider that this is our wire 1, wire 2, wire 3. Okay, so in this type of condition what I have shown you earlier, that let's consider displacement. So like origin from original position, this move to this position. Okay, so this is delta is change in our, so this delta is our like elongation in all the bars. Okay, so delta 1 is equal to delta 2 is equal to delta 3. Okay, so I will write here. Okay, so delta 1 equal to delta 2 is equal to delta 3. So delta 1 can be written like, let's assume P1 is a load acting in our 1. Okay, so P1 L1 by A1 E1, okay, is equal to P2 L2 by A2 E2 is equal to P3 L3 by A3 E3. Okay, now this aluminum wire, if we talk about, so or like if I talk about this, so I can say that 1 and 3 are both aluminum wire and both have same length, same area of cross section and same E. So I can write P1 is equal to A1 by A2 into E1 by E2. That is let me write it like this. So like this one is steel, so this one is aluminum. So area of aluminum upon area of steel into E of aluminum upon E of steel into L2, that is L of steel upon L of aluminum into P2 is equal to P3. Okay, now if I substitute these values here, so I will obtain P1 is equal to area of aluminum is given as 300 and steel is given as 200. Okay, into E of aluminum is given as 0.667 into 10 power minus 5 upon E of steel is 2 into LST. L of steel is 8 meter upon this is 4 meter. P2 is equal to P3. So I can write from this equation, I can write P1 is equal to let's calculate this, 3 divided by 2 into 0.667 divided by 2 into 2. This will become 1.0005 P2 plus P3, sorry, is equal to P3. Now this is our equation 1. Okay, now if I want to write our equilibrium equation for this rigid bar, so I can write that P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to, all these values are equal to your 60 kilonewton. Okay, now let's substitute the values here. So let's find the P1 value first. So P1 plus P2 can be written as P1 upon 1.005, P1 upon 1.0005. Okay, plus P3 is equal to P1 is equal to 60. So from here I can write P1 is equal to inverse plus 2. Okay, so this is our inverse into 60. So we have obtained our value of P1 is equal to 20 kilonewton. Similarly, our all the values will become 20 kilonewton. It is asked now the length nose like in the wire. It is asked what is the force will be resisted by each wire. So we have obtained P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3 is equal to 21 kilonewton. You can say that this is our 1.005, which is almost similar to 1. So force will be almost equal in all terms. Okay, so with this we have concluded our question session 1 for strength of material subject. Okay, thank you.